So, welcome everyone. Diane and I are very excited to be here again today. We're not sure why we're here again, but we're the last several weeks have been quite exciting getting ready for this, and cooking for 100 people is always very entertaining. So we have lots of things to do. So, anything you want to enter? Begin?
Okay, so today I'm doing an autumn day in Normandy. If you haven't been to Normandy, France, I highly recommend it. It's beautiful. It's beautiful countryside with beautiful cliffs
Can you all
down
hear?
to the Atlantic Ocean, and they do not grow grapes there. They grow apples, and so they make Calvados, and they make cider, and they make hard cider, and you gain a real appreciation for apples while you're there. The things that they do really, really well are cheeses, and Camembert from Normandy is amazing. The Camembert we get here in San Diego is not. So we're doing salmon rillettes, so we're going to use smoked salmon and king salmon today, and we're going to make those into a spread for you. Then a crustless mushroom quiche with brie, a field green salad with dried cranberries, blue cheese, and toasted pecans, and a cranberry vinaigrette. And then we're going to do cider braised pork loin with apples over buttered noodles. And then peas. We need something green on the plate, and she's already got green beans, so I'm doing peas. With caramelized onions and lardons. So really just thick cut bacon and caramelized onions. And then I'm doing a lemon cake with creme fraiche, and we make our own creme fraiche instead of buying the little tiny containers in the grocery store, and some berries on top of that.
Okay. One thing I did forget to say is you're not allowed to talk to each other during class. Okay? Think that's going to work? Okay, well, try your best. Whisper, don't talk. Okay, good, if you can. We also decided we're going to take a 10-minute break halfway through, so you can all stand up, spin around, speak for 10 minutes, and then you'll sit down and you'll be quiet. Okay? All right. All right, so today I'm doing a fall at its best, or whatever you'd like to call it. Somebody's got their Zoom sound on. If you could shut that off, please. I can hear you. You can hear me. All right. If somebody can't figure it out, we'll help you with it. Okay, so today I'm doing my first course will be a soup. Somebody still has their, if you've got Zoom, are we taking care of it? Okay, good. I won't talk too much. So I'm going to be starting with a chicken and wild rice soup that is absolutely delicious. I love this soup so much. I'm also going to garnish it with a little bit of roasted mushrooms. So there's a small amount of mushrooms in with the celery and carrots and all the beginning, the mirepoix at the beginning, and then we're going to put a little pile of roasted mushrooms on top. We'll talk more about these later. I'm also doing a salad that has cranberries and all that kind of stuff. I have an apple cider vinaigrette, which is a reduction of apple cider and apple cider vinegar. You boil that down and then add olive oil to it. And today I've soaked my dried cranberries in that dressing while it was still a little bit warm, just to kind of puff them up a bit. So that's going on top with toasted walnuts, feta cheese. Oh, where's my no nut person in the room? No nuts? No, can't eat walnuts? There she is. Okay, raise your hand one more time. Okay, she's right in the white shirt. Okay, good. No nuts. Sorry to be, yeah. But we just want to make sure nothing happens to you while you're here. Okay, good. I'm using feta cheese. Goat cheese is also delicious on this. I've done it with a wedge of brie as well. The little small piece is really good. Then I'm going to do a flank steak that's stuffed and rolled. There's lots of different versions. I'll tell you the history of this when we get to it. It's rolled up. I learned a technique on our trip when we went up to Paso Robles this last May for a wine tour that I brought people on. I don't have to grill these like I have for the last 25 years. I just roast them in the oven for 15 minutes. Thank you. I was in the wrong place. Okay. And they come out brown and juicy and tender. And we're going to serve it with a gorgonzola cream sauce, but I'll talk about other ways to do that. Polenta that's been baked or cooked and then baked with a wonderful browned butter, fresh sage drizzle over the top of it, and Parmesan cheese. And then I have the green beans, okay, with sweet and sour caramelized onions. And then I'm doing a cheesecake that is with apples. I had to go into the apples too. Okay, so you're up.
All right. So salmon rillettes, you actually have them to taste right now. So I've got cream cheese softened. I cooked the king salmon in the microwave. You can either cook it in the microwave or you can poach it on the stovetop. So I'm just going to flake this. And then I've got some smoked salmon. And I got this smoked salmon from Point Loomis Seafoods this week.
So this is the hot smoked, not
yes,
like
hot
lox.
smoked.
Hot
You
smoked
don't
salmon?
want lox. No, that's
Yeah.
creepy. Sorry.
And what's creepy about it? No, sorry.
It's kind of like wallpaper that's been, moistened and then you can't get rid of it. I'm actually allergic to salmon, so when I made what you're eating, I said to my husband, Dr. C, now I just need to know if this is edible. He thought it was edible. So then we've got some lemon zest. When you get lemons in the grocery store, any citrus that you get in the grocery store, even organic citrus, it's waxed. Run it under hot water with a scrubby brush and get that wax off of there, because if you don't, you're going to have wax in your food. So lemons, limes, citrus, oranges, whatever you're going to use. So we're using the zest, and then this was in with some ice, and it is so frozen that I'm going to...
Oh, that's funny. It looks like it's sliding right off the lemon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then we're going to add some lemon juice to it. I've got chopped dill and chopped chives. All of the produce came from Specialty Produce. So if you know where that is, it's down on Hancock Street in San Diego. And the freshest stuff you're going to get in San Diego is going to be there, because all the better restaurants use them, and so it turns over rapidly.
And the chives were beautiful.
Oh my gosh.
You know, chives are always kind of like, why did I spend $3 on these chives? These were beautiful.
Yeah, you had no stringy, ugly chives. So this is the rillettes, and you can cover this with plastic wrap, put it in the fridge, or you can freeze this for a month. It freezes really well, so you could do that as well. So that's the rillettes. I'm going to put this back here. Any questions? Oh, sorry. Flat leaf parsley. If you chop it, you need to use it.
Don't forget your parsley.
Yeah,
That's pretty. So how long will it keep in the refrigerator?
about 4 days.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's good.
yeah. So you can bake this ahead, and you can use it on bagels. You can. We're just doing baguette slices. I actually didn't like it on toasted baguettes. I thought it took away from it, so we used regular baguettes. No toasting.
Cool. Cool.
Thank you.
How is it? Good. Oh, it's not happy with me.
I don't know.
I should have practiced
Corey,
my
what did
thing.
we
It's
do with this?
buzzing. Okay. There's nothing in it, that's why. Do you want to do your quiche too?
Yeah.
Okay. So next up is the quiche squares.
Okay. So I've got to turn on my. Can you see this? Can you guys see this? Yep. Okay. All right. So I'm going to melt a little bit of butter. This is a mushroom quiche. Mushrooms grow really well in Normandy. Let's see. Here we go. But first we're going to caramelize some onions. And because I ran out of onions, we're going to use shallots as a demo. Just,
I think all the onions came to my house.
yeah, I think they did.
I have
But
about
that's okay.
20 of them.
I'm not holding that against you.
Thank you. Sorry.
So when you caramelize onions, it can take a while, and we're just going to pretend that these are going to caramelize really quickly. And I've got some sugar and some fresh thyme in here, and that's going to help with the caramelization. There we go. So you want butter and a little bit of vegetable oil or olive oil, just because the butter will burn if you've got it up on a high heat like this. And so the addition of the oil will help not burn it. And then we're gonna pretend these are caramelized. They're actually gonna be in here with this. Here are the mushrooms. If you go to Specialty Produce, you can buy white mushrooms that are already sliced. Very nice. I like that.
I didn't realize that.
You didn't?
No, because we sliced all of them.
Yeah. So eventually it's going to
Bags
look
and
like
bags
this.
of them.
It's going to look like this. Can I get a bowl, please? And I need this.
Is this too big?
No, that's fine.
Okay.
That's fine. Thanks. In order for this to be a crustless quiche, you're going to have to spray the bottom of your pie plate or whatever you're going to use. And I use Baker's Joy all the time. It doesn't matter if it's sweet or savory. I use this all the time. It's fat and flour in one, and it works really well. Whole Foods sells the same thing, but it's under their name, and it costs 3 times as much.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
you can buy it on Amazon, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to take my mushrooms and onions, caramelized onions here, and then I've got 6 eggs. Whoop. Take the top off first. I'm having foot surgery tomorrow, and so I'm just a little bit weird.
I told her it'd be the perfect time. You're going to go to sleep anyway.
can
We'll
go
be
to
tired,
sleep,
you know.
yeah.
You can't do anything all week, so it'll be a perfect time.
A
Good
little
excuse.
bit, a little bit of heavy cream, because you know you're in Normandy, and that's what you're going to do. I'm going to put these in here as well, just to. So what you would do, if you were at home, you would put all your mushrooms into the pan. Pretend this is a pie plate, because I forgot one. Okay. Then we've got brie. I would have used camembert, but honestly, the camembert we get here is awful. It just, I mean, you go to France and you have camembert and you come back and you think, oh, I really want some of that. And then you go, no, I really don't. So anyway, we're going to put the brie on top like this, and then I'm going to add everything that I've got here.
Spatula?
I got it.
You sure?
Yeah. And then, ooh, thank you. We are going to put this into the oven. Thank you. And then you would put
Penny, if you want to hang
Emmentaler
around up there with
cheese
her,
or
and she's
Swiss
gonna
or
eat
Jarlsberg
things
on top. What you got had the Jarlsberg on top. I forgot to bring it. What can I say?
Oh, well. Do you want some Parmesan? I got
Oh,
lots.
that's okay.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Any questions? I got the brie at Costco. They have French brie at Costco. It's delicious.
It's like the Parmesan there, too. You can get the 3-year aged Parmesan Reggiano at Costco.
Yeah.
It's a lot more expensive than it was 5 years ago, but it's still a lot less expensive than it is other places,
But
which
we've
is good.
seen how it's made.
We have seen how it's made.
Yes.
Stacked up, higher and higher. Have anybody been to
25.
the area and seen the Parmesan wheel? Of course, you guys have. We all did it together. So cool. So cool. All right, we're going to switch over to soup now. So you want to switch to your other packet of recipes and mine. And this soup can be made ahead. Part of it can be made ahead. Part of it can be heated up. It actually works just fine no matter what you do it. It does have a flour base, so it's, melt butter, stir in flour, add liquid to it is the base of it. So that means we can use half and half, or you could even use milk, but it kind of lightens the texture a little bit. I don't know whether that's good or bad, but whatever. As I was boiling down 16 cups of whipping cream for the sauce for the meat, I was like, oh, well, whatever. Okay. So with this one, we start out by sauteing our vegetables. So it is a mushroom-based soup, but I'm using, as I mentioned, a fairly light mushroom in this. I'm just using white button mushrooms, which I've sliced fairly thin. I'm first sauteing onions and carrots and celery, the usual beginning of every sauce you ever make. And then I added the mushrooms to it. This is a small quantity. We have a pot about this big, which will be coming out to you shortly. And you're going to go ahead and saute that until it's very, very tender. Then the next thing we're going to add, oh, by the way, before you do that, you want to deal with your wild rice. So wild rice is not rice. It just kind of looks like rice, so they call it rice. It's actually a grain. So it's not a rice at all, although it is boiled, okay? But a lot of other grains are boiled the same way. Trader Joe's actually sells a very nice wild rice, one of my favorite ones. Easy to find most of the year, not all year, but very great. And it is very easy to cook, but it is also extremely easy to not cook enough or overcook. Okay, so I always use a little extra water. So when I put it in there, there will be a little water left that I will drain out after the 40 minutes or so that it takes to cook it. When you are cooking wild rice, you are watching for it to poof open. Oh, sorry, I spit on my microphone. Okay. It kind of puffs up and breaks open. So at that point, you'll begin to taste it. Okay, does it still taste like a little stick? It's not ready yet, okay? Even if it's puffed open a little bit. So then you're going to cook it. It's going to begin to open a little bit more, and then it will be chewy. You're going for chewy. Wonderful chewy but tender texture to it. You can do that several days ahead of time. If you want to do it for the week, you can actually cook the wild rice, drain it really well, let it cool, package it up, and you can add it to whatever you want. So it's really good. So cook that first so it's done, because if you're trying to do this, it's going to take longer than it is to make the base of the soup. So go ahead and get that done and out of the way. Step number 2 is getting ready for the topping. This is not necessary. You can just make the soup. Just make the soup and eat it. You can skip this topping. But you know, you're having a fancy dinner party someday and you've decided you're going to top the soup with a roasted mushroom mixture. Or you just want to make some roasted mushrooms to put over a steak or something. It's a nice way to do it so you don't have to saute them. You just put them in the oven. So these are chopped up mushrooms. You can use button mushrooms, any kind of mushrooms. Today, I think we just have cremini and button today. Portobellos are great in here. Oyster mushrooms are good. There's so many different kinds of mushrooms now. I almost hate to put anything too exciting in here because no one will know, okay, that it's here. You'd rather keep some of the really interesting ones and eat them on their own, okay, a little bit more. But you're going to put them in the oven with a little bit of butter or olive oil. Either one works very nicely. And you're going to roast those with some thyme, a little bit of salt and pepper until they're tender, okay? Set that aside. You can do that the day before too, if you want to. And then you can cool it down, and then I reheat it just a little bit before I serve it. All right, so we got those parts. Then we get down to the next part. And into the sauteed mushrooms, we're now going to begin to build our soup or our base for it. So we're going to add our flour. This is, I believe, a half a recipe that I'm putting together right here. So we want to stir the flour into that melted butter and the juices from the, I'm going to put a little bit more butter because my butter disappeared in travel time, thank you. And we're going to stir that in, and the flour should work its way into all the liquid that's left over from the veggies and the butter. And let that really disappear if you can, and it's going to get very thick. Okay, don't worry about that. It makes it so much more entertaining. How's your soup? Right. The easiest way is really to heat up this broth, okay? The easiest way is to heat the broth because then you can just dump it all in and you won't get one lump, okay? So while you're sauteing the vegetables in another pan or in the microwave in a measuring cup, you heat that up so it's boiling. And then when you add it, you don't have to add it slowly. This has not been boiled, okay? So I'm going to add a little bit slowly to it. Let's get a little bit more heat on here. And we're going to work that in until it dissolves the flour. If you dump it all cold broth and dump that into this, make sure you'll just end up with lumps. And I'm not talking lumps of carrots, I'm talking lumps of flour. So exciting, thank you. Ooh. I know, ooh is right. The hard part about this is when you do this particular part of it and you're done with it, the color is not attractive, okay? Because the other thing I added, which I already added to my vegetables, is a little bit of curry powder and a little bit of dried mustard. And both of those colors with the yellow color in the broth make sort of split pea soup-ish, kind of an unattractive color. So we need to make, you know, it's mushrooms, so it's brown anyway, right? So we need to make sure that we take care of that by adding other things to make it look pretty, okay? So this now needs to come up to a full boil. So if you make this 5 or 6 times in a giant pot, it takes a really long time for it to come up to a full boil. But for us, it won't take very long at all. Once it reaches a boil, we know then that the flour is cooked, so we're not worried about it anymore. And then we can move on. You can stop there if you want to. Now for this one, I used Costco's rotisserie chickens. I plucked them all. I froze them, which I forgot to take them out of the freezer last night. So I had a big pan, and it just heated up very nicely in the pot of soup, so it was fine. And then I took the bones of the chicken and put it in the Instapot, covered it with water, and heated it. So 2 carcasses, fill the whole thing up with water. I didn't even add anything else to it because I knew I was making soup with it. Cooked it for 40 minutes after it came up to temperature, and then repeated again, chilled it down, and I had great stock. Okay? I mean, you don't even have to add anything else to it. It's just super simple. But I will tell you that, this is terrible, but better than bouillon has a really nice flavor too. So you can use that, and I actually added a little bit, not the full amount, I added a little bit of better than bouillon chicken, the organic chicken one, to the base of the soup because it gives it more taste, more wonderfulness. So that is in there as well. All right, so once this is done, the chicken all went in the soup, you're eating it. So you can add some chicken to this, okay? You can then add your cooked wild rice. This would be after it comes to a boil, along with your half and half. And then this will cook up and get nice and thick, which this won't, but you see how nice and thick it is in your little bowl. Okay, good. But wouldn't you like just a big giant bowl of that? It's so good. You just need this for dinner. It's really good with cornbread. If you want to have some cornbread on the side, that's good too. All right, so that will cook, and you can see it's quite thick. This has cooled down a little bit. To your mushroom mixture, I suggest you add either the parsley to the soup or the parsley to the mushrooms, just depending. By adding the parsley to the mushrooms, I didn't have to garnish the soup. It took care of it for me. The last and most important ingredient is a little bit of dry sherry. Just a tablespoon or so. This is half a recipe, so a tablespoon and a half. Gives a little flavor in the background. You want that to be one of the last things you add, however. I do want to cook the sherry, get rid of the little bit of, it's not very much in there, alcohol to it, but I want that taste to remain, and if you cook it too long, you'll lose it. You'll probably find if you reheat this for several days that the sherry disappears. You can add more. Question? It's a little sweeter than the dry sherry, so yes, you could, but it will be a different flavor. Yeah, no, that'd be fine too. And you can also just leave it out. You can also put brandy in here. Okay, a tablespoon or 2 tablespoons of brandy instead of the 3 sherry would give you a lovely flavor as well. All right, so we have our soup, and then just in the center, you can just put a little, because we didn't really use very many mushrooms in this, so I just like a nice little pile of mushrooms right there on top. And then as you dip into it, you can eat those really good mushrooms, okay? Good? All right, any questions? All right, moving right along.
Moving right along. So with your salad, I'm going to make a savory cookie. It's a shortbread, and we're going to add Parmigiano Reggiano, and we're going to add thyme to it. But you can make this your own. Any aged cheese can be substituted for the Parmigiano, but as far as I'm concerned, it's the king of cheeses, so we're doing that. So I've got
as far as I
a
can
cup
go.
of butter, and then I've got
George, that's as far as I can go.
2 cups of flour and a cup of Parmigiano Reggiano.
That's okay.
And I normally do this in the food processor, but I'm going to do it by hand, just so you can know. There's the thyme. And then we've got an egg. And I'm going to use something that I've started using to make rolled cookies like this. I'll show you in just a minute. There's my egg. So mix it all together, and it's going to form a bond, and then we're going to, I put a tablespoon of water in with the egg, so I didn't have to measure that out. So if you like making things like this and you can't get them quite round enough, I've found the answer. Okay, we're just about there. These can be frozen. Once you make the dough, you can freeze the dough. And then just defrost it in the refrigerator overnight. It should be just fine to slice and bake. And if you want to slice and bake, I'll show you how to do that with this unique tool from OXO.
Is it a tool
It's a tool.
Oh.
Yep.
for slicing? Really?
Well, for forming.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So let me get this stuff off my hands. And so this is a roll. It's silicone, and you take your dough like this, and you form it on this, and it has striations right here that will mark the dough for you so you know where to cut. Then you roll it like this. All right, I'll go. And then at each end, you put one of these, so you get a flat bottom here, and it comes with 2 of these rolls. It's expensive. It's $25, but I do a lot of stuff like this, and so it's worth it to me. It goes in the dishwasher when you're done. I really absolutely love this. I got it on Amazon, but it came in a sur la table bag to my house. So it's available everywhere, but it's by OXO, and it's a great tool. Anyway, so I would put this in the refrigerator to firm it up a little bit. It's kind of soft right now because I've used softened butter and everything else. And then,
I want to know what it tasted like. It's really good.
and then it's got the striations so you can cut. It's got different ones. It's got 1/4 inch, 1/2 inch, so you know where you need to cut. The only problem, and I want to
There's a problem? No.
there is, where'd they go? Yeah. Oh, okay.
What's it called?
God, I don't know. I'll look it up at the break, okay? Oh, yeah. So these aren't perfectly round. I get it, because when you go to cut like this, it's going to hit a flat surface, but it's close enough as far as I'm concerned. So it's a great tool. I love it, and this is what they look like. Here.
Thank you. That's what I was waiting for.
Yes.
It's called the OXO Good Fruit Slice and Bake Cookie Helper.
There you go. Thank you. Yeah.
Slice and bake.
Thank you so much.
Oh, those are good.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Any questions? Any questions?
Any other questions, anybody?
Wait a minute. We got a raffle.
Oh. Get your little tickets out that you got.
This is a bottle of caramelized garlic olive oil. It's amazing.
Where's the tickets?
The tickets?
Oh.
Thank
Cindy,
you.
could you get the bowl with the tickets that's out front?
It's
Thank you.
coming.
It's coming. Oh, there it is. Okay. We forgot that part.
We forgot that part. Oh, thank you. Okay. 654-8568. 8568? No? 8568. 8568. Last call.
Oh, we found it.
Okay.
No? Oh, she's looking for a ticket. We got one more.
Okay. 8568. Nope.
Okay, we'll put it right here and just put the number underneath.
Okay, there we go.
Keep looking. We won't give it away yet.
We won't give it away yet.
Obviously, we could say that if she can't find it and no one else has it, it's hers. But
Right.
I don't know. Is that fair?
Excuse me.
Are you doing salad now?
Yes.
Okay.
And you got the salad dressing, right? Okay. And
So this has been a good year for travel. Let's see. We've been to
actually, give me the
Texas,
smaller one
wine
and I'll-
country,
yeah.
Eclipse. That
Oh,
was fun.
yeah,
That was last year,
perfect.
though, wasn't it? Gosh, it's already. That was April. Oh, so it was April. It was this year. Okay. So we did that. Then we went to Paso Robles on the wine tour, which was really great. We drank a lot of really good wine. That was fun. We've actually gotten together with the group since then, which was really fun too. And then we went, why do I have to come over here? Oh, because the camera's right here? Hi. All right. And then we went on a big cruise around the Baltic Sea, so that was fun. Scandinavia and all that, eating very, very different types of food. Not as good as Italy or Spain or France, sorry. But it was really fun. And then we came back, and what did we do after that? Oh, then we went to San Francisco. To tell you the truth, that was one of my favorite things. We spent 5 days up there. My son was playing in down the peninsula a little bit. So we went up and spent and walked all over San Francisco and ate everything. There is a food tour. If anybody goes to San Francisco and they want a North Beach food tour, just email me. It's the same one I took 10 years ago. It's the same man. He's odder than anyone you've ever seen. And he does the best tour. It is the best one. We ate 8 things. We had to cancel our reservations that night for dinner. It was that bad. Did we find her? Okay, great. Congratulations. All right. That's funny. So, and then we leave for Oklahoma in a week because George is from Oklahoma. So we're going to Oklahoma, and I'm going to Bentonville, Arkansas, because the Jimmy and Mars family from HG. Yes, okay. I have to go there. I don't know why.
Go to the art museum.
We're going to the art museum for sure. And then we're going in caverns on the way up to Branson, Missouri. So I'm going to be in 3 states. I've been in Missouri before. I haven't been in Arkansas or Oklahoma. So I'm excited about Bentonville. Yeah, I'm very excited about that. So, and that's all we're doing this year. After that, we're staying home for the next 3 months after that. Okay. Right.
Boy.
All right. Salad time.
Salad time. So my salad is a little bit less.
Sorry, I got you all riled up. Calm down.
Mine's a little less labor intensive. Salad greens, dried cranberries, toasted pecans, and blue cheese. And the salad dressing is red wine, rice vinegar. So I want a less acid vinegar, rice vinegar. Dijon mustard, vegetable oil instead of olive oil because I don't want the olive oil to overpower the salad, and then some cranberry juice cocktail. Please do not use diet cranberry juice cocktail. It tastes like old socks.
That sounds terrible.
Here we go. The girls have taken my salads and they're going to be plating them for you, but this is what it looks like. It's very beautiful. At this time of the year, in the fall, this is a great salad. And the dressing, you can decide to use other juices. You could use apple juice instead of cranberry juice. You could use orange juice if you like. It's kind of a mix and match if you want to do that, which I really love. I've done it with mango juice. It's really good. Because you're using a lower acid vinegar, it really complements the fruit. And make sure you're using a vegetable oil, canola or something like that that doesn't have a harsh flavor. So that's my salad. Kind of boring compared to yours.
Well, I didn't make any
this
shortbread cookies, though, to go with mine. So, sorry, I got to take pictures. Every year I go, I didn't take any pictures. Every year. So, all right, so my salad is definitely more involved. You can serve this as a main dish if you prefer to have it as a main dish salad. I add some chicken to it. I've added salmon to it before in the past, and it's lovely. It has all that sort of fall flavor. We're really lucky this is not last Sunday when it was so terribly hot. So we're so happy that originally we were going to do it last Sunday too, and we thought, there was a reason. Okay. So the first thing you need to do is to get your vegetables and your apples ready to go. So this is a butternut squash. All right. This is what they should all look like when you buy them, because this is all solid. This whole part here is solid butternut squash. Sorry, I ripped my thumbnail off cooking yesterday. I hit it on something. So I'm going to be wearing gloves all day. So this part here is great. There's only this little tiny bit with the seeds, and it just makes it a lot easier to cut up. Now, do you have to cut them up, or can you buy the already cut up ones? You can buy the already cut up ones, but please use it the day that you buy them. They turn into slime balls, okay, in no time at all. And those dates on butternut squash cut up or sweet potatoes cut up, it's that date is real. And really 2 days before that date is real. Okay. So peel it, cut it up, and dice it. Yes?
We lost the video on the Zoom.
On the Zoom? Oh. What's wrong? An unknown error occurred. Okay. I'm sorry. Let's see if I can get you back. I'm just going to have to sign in again. Do you want to talk about something for a second?
Shall I talk about something?
Yeah.
Oh, Phyllis has a cruise going next fall.
Okay, Diane's still talking. She's taking over for me. Okay.
Phyllis has a cruise going next fall to Japan, which sounds amazing. I lived in Japan for 3 years, and it is a place that I revere. It is a great place to visit, and they'll be going to some of my favorite places, Kyoto being one of them. And so if you're interested, go to her website and you can sign up. We were scheduled to go to the Valle de Guadalupe 2 weeks ago. We had friends in town. George and Phyllis were going to come, and then they couldn't come. So Chuck and I went down with our friends from Pennsylvania, and it's really a fun tour. And we had a private driver, and we went to three wineries, and we had lunch at Javier Plasencia's Finca de Altozano.
George? Sorry, can you come and see? It won't go back on.
And
Thanks.
so Phyllis and I are thinking of
I
doing
have
it
Christy
as a
Carr's
group
up there.
with maybe a bus with 20 people on it. So we're,
And we have to do it because we didn't get to go.
yeah, you didn't
Okay.
get to go. And should we wear the tiaras?
We should wear tiaras.
Yeah, yeah.
You guys could get one too if you want to. Just no diva or queen. It has to say something else.
Right. So it's worth going. It is an all-day affair. We left Old Town, the parking lot in Old Town at 9 o'clock in the morning, and we didn't get back until about 8:30 at night. But it's really worth going. I think the wineries are incredibly beautiful down there, which I did not expect at all. And we've been to wineries everywhere, and it was really fun. So we're thinking of doing a trip like that. So where is it? The Valle de Guadalupe in Baja. Yeah.
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 Okay, excuse me. I don't know what happened. It just disappeared. We'll see if we can get it back. I have Christy. Where's Christy? Is she here, Christy Carr? I have your name up here. Okay. I don't know why. It switched hosts. Oh, how fun. Okay, so who was that? Who has?
Excuse me.
Connie, is it you?
worries.
Could you sign off Zoom for a second and then go back on? Okay, it's back on now? It is on now. You probably have to sign back in, though. You have to go out and come back in.
Oh, you can take it out. I'm sure it's fine.
I see the picture. Oh, well.
Let me do
All right,
it.
well, let's move along. You can see some of it anyway. That's so strange. It's like they can't make it perfect. Yes? You know, there's several different ways to do it, okay? The serrated peelers work quite well, okay? That to me is, if I'm going to use a peeler, I use the serrated peeler, okay? It will go through it. More often than not, I just cut it into smaller pieces and slice it with a knife because it's just easier. Okay, ultimately it's going to take me as long as to try to slice that thing and pull the pieces out and all that. So for the most part, that's just all they do. Okay, you're going to take your squash. Now, I like it with some apple in it too. I've chosen Golden Delicious apples today for this. And the reason I've chosen is I wanted an apple that would not mush up at all. And Golden Delicious is known for that. Okay, they have a lovely flavor. They won't turn into applesauce, but you can really use any apple that you wanted to with this. Whatever kind of apple you like, okay? If you're roasting them, though, or you're making a pie and you want them to stay like apples, make sure you use an apple that isn't an applesauce apple. No Macintosh, no Delicious. Golden Delicious is fine, okay? So those get tossed together. in some recipe here, tossed together. And I like to put the apple in with the squash when I'm roasting it because I think it provides flavor to it. So you get the kind of cross flavor. It's not just the squash. Olive oil, pure maple syrup. And the reason for the pure maple syrup just means that it's not, Mrs. Butterworth or one of those kind. It's not maple flavored syrup. It's actual maple syrup. I also look for anything that says dark color or dark amber, or instead of being an A syrup, I look for a B syrup. They're usually richer to cook with, not as sweet. And they work really well for this kind of thing, okay? So you're gonna toss that together with a little salt and pepper. I like a little pinch of red pepper flakes, okay? The pinch of red pepper flakes gives a little zing. Yes? Okay, which way? This way? I have to go all the way over here, okay.
I'm getting out.
Is that good? Okay, good. All right. And so you're going to roast that. You can do that the day before. You can put it in the refrigerator. I usually like to take it out a little bit ahead of time so it's not stone cold right out of the refrigerator. I think it tastes better, but that's good. The next part you want to do is you want to make your salad dressing. Now, this is not just whisk it together salad dressing. I'm sorry. You have to boil and reduce down the apple cider. So you take apple cider or apple juice. There's a different way to make each one. For the most part, no matter what it says in the grocery store, it's just apple juice. Just buy apple juice, it's fine. You can buy a concentrated apple juice and add your own good water to it. Sometimes that tastes better than any of them if you have a really good filtered water system. Cider vinegar, minced shallots, you boil that on top of the stove until it boils down. Again, when you do it 4 or 5 times, that takes a really long time. But the rest of the time, it doesn't take more, 10, 15 minutes at the most. And then you're going to take it off the heat. You're going to whisk in some Dijon mustard, and you're going to add some olive oil and a little bit of salt and pepper. Okay. So this is my shallots and my reduction, and of course, I don't have any mustard. That's over somewhere else. And you can also just, if it's a small amount, this is half a recipe, I think. Oh, maybe I wrote it down on top. No, it doesn't say. Okay, and you can shake it up or you can whisk it. Dijon mustard has a very wonderful way it works with liquids and salad dressings. It actually makes it thicken and holds it together a little bit better. In this particular one, because of all the juice, it will separate as it sits. While it's still warm, I often pour it over the top of the cranberries. Here we go. And especially if you have those dried up ones, that you've had around for a little while. Okay. These were particularly soft, but still, I'll let them sit in there. But please note the note that I put in there. If you're doing this and you're making the dressing the day before and you want to use the warm on your cranberries, don't leave them in there until tomorrow, or you could just stir them and it would puree. All right, so don't do that. So take them out, and it tells you to do that in there, so you should be fine. You can add the squash and apples to your salad along with the cranberries if you'd like to, or you can put them on top. It just depends on how I'm serving it and what I'm looking for. Let's shake it up again. Should add some salt and pepper to this. That would probably be really good. Okay. A little bit of salt.
This needs 7 minutes.
I think I learned this from Diane, as a matter of fact, that if you make a vinaigrette and it's too tangy, okay, add some salt, and it fixes it. It works amazingly. And then you don't want sugar, you don't want anything like that. I grind up my own peppercorns once a week or so I just keep them. So it's as close to fresh. It's hard to turn that thing so. All right. Only add enough of your dressing to coat. This does have oil in it, so it is going to stick to the greens, but I don't want too much in here. And it's good. Whoop, whoop. Stay. And then toss away. I'm breathing into the microphone, sorry. Now this is part spinach and part arugula. It could be mixed greens as well, but I like a little heartier, a little sturdier green when I'm putting squash on top of it. Otherwise it just mushes it all down. So spinach by itself is fine, arugula by itself is fine. So any of those items. Are we still not working? We need a little plate right there. Excuse me. We're still working on the technicalities back here. I'm coming over here. Now I put the cranberries and squash and everything in here, which when you're just serving a few people, don't. Put them on each person's because then everybody gets the right amount. But today I just did it because it was easier. And then you have to go back and fish more so it looks pretty. Okay. I love feta cheese, but I only buy feta cheese that is made with sheep's milk. Okay, you can buy it everywhere now. It is not a problem. I can walk into Vons and buy it. It is so much better. It is not salty. It is fabulous stuff, so please, please do that. Walnuts, excuse me. I left our walnuts today pretty large. I like to see them. I toasted them for about 8 minutes at 350 degrees in the oven or the toaster oven. Either of those will work really well. But you need to toast walnuts, especially walnuts. They have a fungus that grows on the inside of the shell that makes your mouth go all wonky if you eat a lot of them raw. Some people more than others. It's a really weird, your mouth just sort of gets odd feeling. And so you want to toast it, and that kills that, and it's fine. So much easy. Any questions? That made it look really easy because you didn't have to cut up the squash and the apples and all that kind of stuff. It is easy. More salad. Any questions at all? Okay, what are you doing next?
I am doing pork.
Okay, pork recipe on Diane's. Are we back or we gave up? It crashed. Okay.
Kimberly is on the case.
We've got our...
So I'm just going to do a little demo, but I want you to get the idea of what this looks like. So I've got Dijon mustard and brown sugar here. This is pretty messy stuff. So you mix this together. Can you see this? Yeah. Okay. Then I've got a little piece of the pork loin. I had 20 pounds of pork loin that I was dealing with. It was like wrestling a whale. Okay. So you want to coat it really well because this is going to sear on the outside. And I think, and I've got, it says to do it in a Dutch oven, but because we're limited here, I'm doing it in this pan. Okay. Get rid of these. All right. I'll be back.
Oh, there's the mustard.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's in here. Okay. This can be taken care of. Thank you.
By the way, you can just eat that squash with the apples and everything. It makes a really nice side dish with a pork tenderloin or a pork loin instead of putting it on greens.
So you want to brown this on all sides. You want to make sure that you're not burning it because you can burn the sugar here.
I think I got it now, finally. Thank you. Now, there's a Coke on the top shelf. Could you pour it in the glass for me? Yeah. I can smell it.
Yeah.
What is Simone Beck? Remember the old recipe? She had a pork loin and she larded it. Okay, have you heard that word in a long time? So she cut holes in it with a larding needle, or she used, I remember watching this once, Julia Child made it, where she used a sharpening steel and shoved it in the middle of the pork loin in 3 spots and larded it with ham. So you think pink, and then when the meat cooks of the pork, it turns white, basically. So she larded it and then coated it in a brown sugar and mustard, and then she cooked it with prunes and things. I made it once.
Oh, I've made it.
Have you?
A lot.
It was good.
Oh, it's so delicious.
It was really good.
Yeah.
So I think I got it, so I did it with pork chops after a while and skipped the larding part.
So the other thing that you could do with this is you could do chicken breasts. They're not going to cook nearly as long, obviously, but they are.
Is concentrating on somebody on one of the first 2 rows eating. It's not on the food.
Yes. Okay. Can you go over and tell her that?
Okay,
So she's filming.
consider that browned, and then we've got some onions.
Sorry.
And I want you to pretend that I put the onions into the the Dutch oven, and you put the pork on top of the onions, and then you're going to add apple cider and some better than bouillon beef base.
Oh, that's it. That's good. Is it good now? Zoom people? Look at your Zooms. Anybody got one on? Still not working? Oh, okay. Well,
So the nice thing about better than bouillon, two things. One, the first ingredient is beef rather than salt. And the other thing is that you can get it at Costco in this size. They do chicken and they do beef and vegetable.
and the roasted vegetable one is really good.
Yeah. So this would go into the oven for, bake for 45 minutes. At the end of 45 minutes, you're going to add the apples, which I'm going to need another saute pan. Do we have one?
Small one, okay.
Yeah.
Smaller.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay. Let me.
You want to put it right here?
Yeah, that's great. Okay, there. So Phyllis and I have been using this machine forever. This is called the Apple Master. If you have grandchildren, this is your thing. Okay. There it is.
Go.
So I'm going to melt some butter. Turn this down a little bit. All right. And then you do this, and it cores and peels.
And it's fun.
And it's a lot of fun. And my grandkids absolutely love this thing. And then pull it off. The core comes out. Look at this. It's an accordion. Okay. So you can get that on Amazon too. So what you would do is you would saute all of your apples that are in the recipe. I'm just going to talk about it because we've got many things to do. Okay. So you want the apples to still be crisp and tender, and you can use whichever apples you like.
I don't know why. I should be the host, though. So weird.
What?
What's wrong with Zoom?
Okay. So we're pretending that this has cooked for 45 minutes, and then I'm going to add the apples to it. Going to cover it up again, and you're going to cook it for another 15 minutes.
Covered?
Covered.
Covered.
In a Dutch oven.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's our pork. Any questions? If you wanted to do chicken, cover it for 25 minutes and then add the apples and another 10. Okay? 25 and 10. You've got 35 minutes. Yes? No, just put them in. And at the end, I'm going to show you what the sauce looks like. Actually, I'll use this. Hang on. At the end, this is the sauce. I got to get rid of this. Let's see. I got it. Thanks.
They're still working on getting the host set up. Did you all hear that? Okay,
Yeah.
George, what are you
And
saying?
A bowl of some sort, a little bowl, please.
He's going on microphone.
Okay.
Does that work?
Perfect.
Okay.
Thanks.
Find Phyllis's window among
Thank you
all
very
the
much.
other participants in the meeting. Double click on that and then pin her window. Pin her window so that it stays open.
Here.
There.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I knew I got that for something. I wonder how I got lost as the host.
So you want to thicken this sauce, and I'm using cornstarch and water, And you want to add this and bring it back to a boil. And once it's back to a boil, then you're going to add heavy cream. Now, you don't need to add the heavy cream, but we did today. So taste what we do in class. You decide whether you want to add the heavy cream or not. This,
Do you want some? I have extra. Do you want cream? I have
I've
some.
got- I've got
Oh,
it.
got some. Okay.
yeah. Okay. So this is going to come to a boil, and then I'm going to add the heavy cream right here. Whew. I do need it to boil, though.
I know. Things are supposed to boil really fast when we're on. Oh, well. All right, any questions about doing pork this way?
Any questions? Okay.
You guys are good? Sorry for the technical difficulties.
A couple of things about the pork. One, you can make it ahead. It's actually better the next day. Two, you can freeze it after it's cooked. You can freeze it and then have it as gold in your freezer. Just make sure that you defrost it in the refrigerator. For every 5 pounds of weight, it takes 24 hours on the clock to defrost. So that 20-pound turkey you get that's frozen, it's going to take 4 days, okay?
So when you serve this, do you just slice it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I haven't seen it finished yet. I'm excited.
Where is it? Oh, I think they got it. Okay. Just going to add this once this thickens.
I can actually turn these off now. Yeah. Ooh. Okay. Okay. Okay.
All right. What I
So
like,
you notice it's clearing up again too
yeah,
as it thickens.
it gets really glossy and beautiful, and then it thickens up. Okay. So we've got some. Okay. So I'm just going to add a little bit of heavy cream here. A lot of dairy cattle in Normandy. Okay, that's our sauce. Did somebody have a question? Did somebody have a question? Anybody have a question? Put it, I would, the whole shebang, the sauce, everything, put in the freezer. Yeah. That works. Okay. Andiamo.
Ooh, heavy. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so it's just not working. Why do we keep having Sharon? Sharon, why are you the main person on our video today?
Behind you.
Okay, now George, is this on camera? Yes. Can everybody see it up in this one? Okay, good. All right, question.
Yes, when you're making the pork recipe with chicken, you need to use a whole chicken?
No, chicken breasts.
Okay.
And you want to brown them the way we did with the Dijon and the brown sugar, and then put them into the Dutch oven with the onions on the bottom, covered in the oven for 25 minutes, and then 10 minutes with the apple. Okay?
Bones in, bones out. Bones in or bones out?
Bones in.
Bones in, chicken breast. Okay. I was thinking 25 minutes is too long for the boneless ones. Okay. All right. We're going to move on and switch over to mine. Yes, Lynn.
I'm not.
I just
done
added
with
a little
this.
bit for
I'm not done with
flavor.
this.
So when it says to add the
I
broth,
need another second.
okay, I added the broth, and then I just added a little bit. Normally it's a teaspoon per cup of water. Okay, so I added maybe a quarter of a teaspoon to a half a teaspoon of better than bouillon because I already had a
This goes
broth
in the
that I was using. So I did it to taste. Okay.
But it's got to heat up.
Yes, it's the same. It looks just like this, only it's the chicken one. And in the grocery store, they sell little tiny containers. It keeps for, I think, forever. Okay.
6 months on the shelf and 1 year in the fridge.
People keep it on the shelf?
I don't know. I don't.
Don't keep it on the shelf. Put it in the refrigerator. but it does. It's great. I mean, it's really good stuff. Okay, good? Okay. All right, so we're going to stuff some flank steak. So, this is a recipe that you may like, you may not. Okay, you got to slice this flank steak in 2 pieces this way. Okay, so it's a pain. If you don't have a sharp knife, it ain't going to work. So, just warning you. It even sometimes doesn't work terribly well if you don't have a sharp knife. So it depends. You want a fairly meaty one. It makes it a lot easier than having a really, really small one to try to cut in half. Although it really doesn't matter. And if you mess it up, it doesn't matter. If it's got a hole in it, it doesn't matter either. So I don't want you to stop just because you think it's just something you can't handle. I'm using a ceramic slicing knife today because it's sharp and it works for me. But it can be any type of a knife that's got a fairly thin and sharp edge to it. You can do it with a chef's knife too, if you have a really good one. And you're going to literally get your knuckles off the edge here if you can. You're going to slice it into 2 thin pieces. Now, sometimes people slice it and they keep it in one long piece, and I go, what are you going to do with this big long piece of meat? So it's easier to me just to cut it into 2 pieces. And you may have to kind of look and go back and forth and, this and that. And this has only been out of the refrigerator for a little bit. You want it to be nice and cold. It makes it a little easier to slice. And I just keep kind of checking anything you cut in half like this, just so you know I'm doing a really good job today. Okay, and some of those I didn't do as good of a job on, all right? I did 8 of them, 9 of them or something already? So, and at Costco they package them so you got 1 big one and 1 little one. What is that? It's like, I just want the same thing. I don't want all this weird stuff. So you slice it till you come through, and you get a little impatient at this point. Don't, just keep going slowly, bit by bit. And sometimes I turn it around, sometimes I open it up, and I go, okay, I'm real tired of this now, and just cut it off. Okay, good. Then we have 2. It looks prettier on the inside because the air hasn't gotten to it too much. So those are your 2 basic ones. Now, flank steak has a grain to it. So, there's the tender meats. We've got beef tenderloin. We've got ribeye steaks, New York steaks, even top sirloin. Those are fairly tender pieces of meat. And so they have grains, too, if you really look for them. And it does make a difference which way you cut them sometimes as to how chewy the meat's going to be or how tender. But when you get down into the flank steaks and the London broils, you better be sure you know which way the grain is going, or you're going to be chewing on strings. It's going to taste like stringy meat. So it always at the flank steak, let's put it back together. Oh, I can't even put it back together. Oh, dear. Anyway, put it back together. There we go. And the meat is always sort of this size. Sorry, put it back together. It's sort of this way, and the grain always runs lengthwise, so it's pretty simple, which makes our life easy, because once we open it up, we now have 2 pieces. We just have to roll it up, and then we're going to slice across the grain into our pinwheels afterwards. So it's just going to be easy. If you roll it up this way by mistake, and you slice it into pinwheels, it's like chewing on little leathery, don't do it. So we're going to lay everything over the top. But before we do that, the one thing I have found that makes a huge amount of difference to this meal is that you marinate the meat, okay? Marinate the meat for at least 4 hours. If that's all you got is 4 hours will be fine. This is one of my favorite marinades. It is super simple, super basic. You've got everything in your refrigerator or on the shelf usually, except maybe the rosemary, but I have a whole yard of it just drop by, okay? It's not a hard one to grow. To me, this is a great marinade. It's good for meat, and this type of meat can also sit for 24 hours in this marinade. Doesn't hurt it. It doesn't break down the meat until it's soggy. Could I have one of the sheet pans, the aluminum? Oh, no, I'm sorry, one of the disposable pans. Those little, big or little, big, doesn't matter. Actually, there should be a whole pile of them somewhere. Never mind, just give me a bowl. A bowl will be fine. Sorry, I should have planned ahead. So I like to marinate it. So again, we've got balsamic vinegar. I'm using Costco's balsamic vinegar, which by the way is very good. Their aged balsamic is quite good. When I'm using bulk stuff like this, I'm not using my really good balsamics. Soy sauce, this one has a lower sodium, but it doesn't really matter. There's not much in here. Dijon mustard is the key to this. Okay, Grey Poupon is what I'm using. Minced up garlic, fresh rosemary, olive oil, salt, and you notice it's the same amount. It is definitely more salt, even though you have some soy, okay? And there's a lot of pepper, and that's really good in here. So then we're going to marinate it. I almost don't want to because it's not going to really do much as far as the flavor. Did you get it fixed? Yay, Zoom is back, huh? All right, thank you. Thank you, everyone who did that. All right, so we're going to take it and just make sure it's coated. Now, I had a whole bunch of them, so I just stacked them, and I actually didn't even do anything. I just layered it with the rosemary. I have enough rosemary, it didn't matter. So I didn't even chop it up or do anything. I just threw the rosemary sprigs right in the layers of the meat. So you can pop it in there. Cover this up, refrigerate it, and then when you're ready to roll it up, which you could also do the day before, which is the best part. So you marinate it one day, you roll it up the next day, you cook it the next day. Fine, okay? So then you're ready. Now you're going to remove it from the marinade. And it is super, super important that you pat it dry. Okay? Now this hasn't been marinating, so there's no flavor in here. But we'll do it anyway. And pat it dry. The reason is it's super wet, and the way we're going to be cooking it, it kind of is a little bit steamy. And if you're going to throw it on the grill, it's going to cause all sorts of flames if you decide to do it that way. So, and this is a little bit more than normally would be on there. And just pat it dry the best you can. Don't be crazy. Don't use 500 paper towels. Just use a few. Okay. And that is that. And then you have to wash your hands at this point because they're a little weird. All right. Thank you. Okay. And now we're going to fill it with all the good stuff. Now, there are many choices of what to fill a flank steak with. I mean, millions. The real basic one is just prosciutto and cheese. Okay, today we're using prosciutto, cheese, and spinach or arugula, either one. The one we had on the wine tour, they did a different kind of meat, but the wine tour, he put some roasted red peppers in there. I put sun-dried tomatoes in here sometimes. It's sort of like whatever's in the refrigerator. Okay, one of those things. I'm using spinach only today. If you had arugula in your salad, that was enough. The hardest part, I think, is I can't get enough spinach in the rolls when you're rolling it up because it's raw and then it cooks down. And so if you want to have more spinach to your pinwheel, wilt the spinach first, squeeze it dry, and then add it over the whole surface. And then when you roll it up, you're going to get a lot. Oh, thank you. There we go. So we're going to start out with some prosciutto. This is my favorite German prosciutto. I buy it at Trader Joe's. Okay. It's a little weird, but it is my favorite.
No comment.
I know. Please don't tell anyone. Okay. I think I like it because it's thicker, which is bad. Okay. I'm getting feedback now. Okay, take that off. And you're just going to cover the top with prosciutto. Now, don't salt the meat at this point. You can pepper it if you want to. But not only did we put this in a marinade that had salt and soy sauce in it, we also are putting prosciutto over the whole surface of it, which is very, very salty. Goes well with lots of pepper, though. So if you're a pepper lover, sprinkle the meat with pepper before you put the prosciutto on it. All right. So once you have this, I'm also going to need some aluminum foil, even a couple of those little squares. Now, how much of the meat and cheese you put in here is truly, actually, I need the other kind that isn't heavy. Sorry. It's up to you. You can put a ton of it. The German version of this, maybe not that marinade, but the German version, I would have ham, okay, and Swiss in here. I would have spread mustard on it, and ham and Swiss, and maybe some dill pickles rolled up inside, so there's all kinds of stuff. Provolone is ideal. You can also use fontina, but provolone doesn't melt. Have you ever noticed that? It softens, okay? So when you put it on something like this, and it'll just stay in the roll. It might, a little bit might come out, but you use something like fontina, or think of jack cheese. It just runs all over the place, and it would all be outside of the meat. I want it to stay in as much as possible. So I'm doing both halves, so this makes a decent amount of meat, okay? I mean, I think it's more than enough for 6 people out of one flank steak. You can do it for fewer, but it's a lot. I mean, if we eat one, we can't even eat, oh, perfect, thank you. All right, next is the fun part, is the spinach. And really, at least this much spinach on each one. Do we have any more spinach, or did we use it all? If not, I'll just put some over here. Is that it? Okay, okay. Because that looks like a lot of spinach, and when you start to roll it up, it tries to come out. But the biggest problem with it is that it isn't enough. It wilts down into nothing. Thank you. So I pack it on there. So I think I put a cup for each side. I'm putting 2 cups on each side. Okay. And then just roll it up. Tuck, 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 and roll. That's it. It's really actually kind of fun. I don't know, I enjoy this kind of cooking.
Do you want my slice and bake cookie thing?
Oh, we should have used that. Oh, God. It would even have the little lines on it, right?
Yes.
All right. For the way I've cooked it today, so this is what I learned, excuse me, at that, on the wine tour, is that you can just roll this up in foil and you can bake it in the oven and it comes out exactly the same as if I grill it and tie it up and do all that kind of stuff. And believe me, I've done it now several times in the last few months, and it is a dream. No one can tell the difference. It comes out looking brown. You'll see it on yours. It's lovely. So you can tie it up, or you can take foil. Now, this is not heavy-duty foil, is the reason I asked for something that wasn't so thick, because I don't want it to be wrapped quite so tightly. So you take your rolls, you lay it on there, and you just wrap it up. And then you stick it in the fridge. Okay, if you're not ready for it, take it out a little while ahead of time. When you put it in the pan that you're going to, on a cookie sheet or in a pan, okay, a casserole dish, put it so that the folded part is up. We want to keep the juices in the meat, okay? And it's easy to work with. It's not falling apart, you know, any of that. The hard part is slicing the meat in half. That's really it. But once you got that down, okay, so it can go in the refrigerator until tomorrow. Okay, I'm sure they probably would freeze except for the spinach. Might be a little weird. But it might be fine. It would still be fine inside of here, so she's more of the make-ahead.
If I did the spinach, I might saute the spinach before putting it in here, so you get rid of the water.
Yeah.
Because that's your enemy when you do that.
When you do too much of it in there.
Yeah.
All right, so these can go in just like this into the oven. 350 degrees, 15 to 18 minutes, that's it. Now, I did many of them today, so it took a lot longer than that because I packed them all together and they were close. Don't overcook them. Flank steak is not happy being super well done. You can cook it till there is no pink. Okay, you'll probably, when you have yours today, you will notice there's not much pink on it. But it is not meant to be a well-cooked piece of meat because it will be tough and chewy, okay? When you serve it, you have a choice. Remember the marinade that we made? Okay? Don't put all the marinade on the meat. Save some of it and add a little bit more oil so it's now a salad dressing to it. And you can drizzle that over the cooked meat. This is also delicious with a tomato sauce. So you can do a pasta, put the meat on it, and a tomato sauce on top of it. So that's another way to serve this. Okay? I mean, it goes on and on.
Yeah.
You could probably do it with apples, don't you think?
Yeah.
No. Okay.
Right.
All right, I need that saucepan, the all-clad saucepan. The round, saute. No, it's mine, it's bigger, 3-quart. I made the soup in it. No. They may have put it over there, the saute pan. No, it's not that one. Sorry. It's roundy. That's it, thank you. All right, I'm going to make some polenta. Now, how many people were here last year for Diva Queen? Last December? Okay. Diane told you a great way to make polenta in the oven, right? I don't quite. Do I fit over there? Can you plug it in over there maybe? Just for the moment? Thank you. I'm not going to do that. Terrible. I actually am making my polenta on top of the stove, and then I'm going to bake it for a second time. So I make the polenta ahead of time, put it in a casserole dish, and then before I'm ready to bake it and serve it, I do a brown butter with fresh sage in it, pour it over the top, and then add some Parmesan cheese on top of it. So you can make a casserole out of it, which is really fun. So it's a little bit different. So we are going to start out with some broth, of which I don't have, right? Okay, I didn't bring any broth. Well, let's use water. Perfect. Okay. I think I only need to do about half a recipe, right? 3.5 cups, please. So we're going to heat up some water. I like my polenta a little creamy.
I need to get the
So I use a little bit of whipping cream with chicken broth. That gives it flavor. Whipping cream gives it
you found
creaminess. What can I say? Whipping cream butter.
Sour
But you don't have to, okay? Water is perfectly fine to make polenta. That's the tradition anyway. You don't want to make it necessarily with anything else. Instead of using whipping cream, you can also use milk. You'll just need more milk in place of the water or the broth. So in this particular case, I call for 7 cups of chicken broth and 1/2 cup of whipping cream. Thank you. And there's a little bit of, okay, I'll use some of hers, that's fine. And a little cream. That's good. Okay. And, okay, so if I was doing 7 cups, it's 7.5 cups total. You want at least a cup to a cup and a half of milk, and then take off another cup of the broth. So you'd have a cup and a half of milk and 6 cups. Okay, so just kind of replace it. You want a total of 7.5 cups for this polenta. So you're going to heat that up. I like to heat it up with a little bit of shallots for flavor. Shallots are just like, they'll make anything taste 500 times better. 500 times better. So I invite you to always have shallots. Plus, they keep in your refrigerator so well. They're much easier to work with. They will make you cry more than a whole onion sometimes. And just dice those up and add them and let them boil. So we're not sauteing them. They're just simmering with the liquid as we cook it. And by the way, you can make the amount I'm making. A half a batch of this is just fine. You can make a quarter of a batch. You can reheat it for 3 or 4 days in a row. You can fry it after it's gotten dried out. You can do anything you want with it. It's great stuff. It just goes on and on. No, it's good.
Can you use it to wallpaper?
Wallpaper, probably. Might be a little lumpy underneath with the little grains. Right. So you want to bring this, if you're doing it on top of the stove, you're going to bring this up to a boil, and then you're going to add your cornmeal. Now, there's lots of different types of cornmeal. There's very fine ground cornmeal that we usually make cornbread out of. Okay, there's a polenta grind, which is a coarser one. There's a really coarse one. Okay, and then there's just polenta grind. What was the red? What's the name? Bob's Red Mill. Okay, that one's very good. I actually buy my cornmeal in bulk at Sprouts. It's in between the two. Okay, which is really strange. So it's not real coarse. It's not going to take me 15, 18 minutes to cook, but it's also not really fine, so I still get some texture to it. Last year I made grits, right? So we're kind of in the same thing. I just like that sort of in-between texture to it. So thank you. So once this comes up to a boil, then we're going to add the cornmeal. Usually you add it fairly slowly, but it doesn't really matter. I just dump it in there and stir it, and then you're going to cook it. Seriously. Just stir it around, and you don't have to stir it all. This is not risotto. Okay, this is polenta. So turn it down, let it do a little bubbly. Don't let it get too hot, because it jumps out and attacks you. You've all been attacked by polenta if you made it. It literally will bubble so big that the whole things jump out and get you. So do be careful with that. Stand back, use a big pot, okay, etc. Or just don't have the heat so high, and it'll be fine. Okay. So once this boils, we add the cornmeal. You can whisk it in if you want to. You can stir it slowly in. To tell you the honest truth, I never measure, dry things in liquid measuring cups, but often I will for grits or for cornmeal because I have a spout. And so I can very easily whisk and just add a little bit that just comes off the point of it, and it works really well. So, sorry, I should never say that. It's a terrible cooking thing to measure in dry things in liquid measuring cups. All right, once that gets going, again, I like the flavor. So today, besides just the shallots, we're also going to add a little extra creaminess with a little bit of butter. I couldn't leave it out. And some freshly grated, again, this is Reggiano Parmigiano. We'll stir part of that into it. You notice it's divided use for the butter and for the Parmesan cheese. So when there's divided use on there, that means you better read the recipe so you know how to divide it. It doesn't say divide it in half. Okay, it says divided use. All right, people do that all the time. Okay, it's starting to bubble. Good. So then we'll add our cornmeal. Really wait till it boils, but whatever. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. And in it goes. There's a cup. And then this looks like, how on earth could that ever turn into anything that's edible? And you look at it for a while, and then in about, 7 or 8 minutes, it'll be fine. Stir it periodically, not necessary to stir it continuously. See, it's bubbling really fast, and it usually bubbles pretty quickly. And then you just want to let it do its thing. Stir it every so often. Now, how do you tell when it's done? Best way is to eat some. I mean, seriously, I have a couple of spoons or forks sitting next to me. I dip it in. If it's gritty, it's not done. Stand back.
Stand back. It's like the splash zone at SeaWorld.
Whoa. Okay. Or a bigger pan also works. This is half a recipe, too, just to give you an idea. And this is a 3-quart saucepan. Okay. So once that's done, you're then going to transfer it to a casserole dish. Okay? You don't want it really thick. I want it fairly thin so it comes out a little chewy, crispy on the edges. That would be really good. Green beans, thank you. So I can have another one of these, can't I? Perfect. Okay. So we're going to put it in here. Now cornmeal. It's like on one now. It's on
not
two.
happy.
It's starting to look like it should, but it's not cooked. You know, when you're watching this too, you go, oh, look, it's thickening. And you go, how exciting. And then you go, no, that's not cooked because I can see every single grain of corn. All right, so that's a good sign it is not done. All right. So whatever casserole dish, if you just make plain polenta, the best way to keep it from sticking to the pan is rinse it in cold water and have a little bit of water still in there. You can put the polenta in, it'll come right out of the pan. But when you start adding things like cheese, yes, then you might want to spray it, okay, in order to get it out of there. It still works fairly well. I don't have a lot of cheese in here, and I do have some butter, which kind of greases a little bit. But generally, if I'm just making plain polenta that I'm going to cut and fry or do something, I just rinse the dish in water, and it comes right out, okay? So this is thickening very nicely. Can you see how that's thick now? Oh, yeah. But it's not done, right? I can just tell. It doesn't look like it's done. Once it's done, put it in the pan. Again, cool it down, refrigerate it, or just continue with the recipe. That's fine. For this one, I'm not going to continue the recipe because it's not that exciting. But you're going to brown some butter on top. I think I used all the butter I own. Oh, there's a little bit of butter.
Here's some butter.
Oh, good. More butter. Oh, we keep finding more butter. I have a little skillet, please. So I will. Okay, so the next thing, we're going to melt butter and we're going to brown it. So it's going to clarify first. That means you're going to cook it until it separates, but you're not going to take off the oil or anything. You use the whole thing. And you're going to cook it till the little solids start to brown a little bit. Thank you. And once they brown, then we're going to add some fresh sage to this.
Do you have it?
There's a whole giant bag of fresh sage in the refrigerator. Oh, you have some right there. Oh, exciting.
Awesome. Thank
So
you.
we've got some little fresh sage. So actually the bag of fresh sage that's in the refrigerator is great. It's a huge bag of sage leaves. I wish it was Thanksgiving. I could actually make use of it all. But I love sage. Sage is used, I think, more in Italy than basil.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they use sage to cook everything in. So we could come out with that apple pork and we could turn it all into an Italian one with
Yes,
sage.
we
Ooh,
could.
and-
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to pretend that that's done because it sure looks done to me. Okay.
What about the cheese?
I know. And we're going to add cheese and stir that in. And we're going to add butter. And we're also going to add some salt. I'm cooking with unsalted butter today, so I can add some salt. Even though there's cheese in there, I know I'm going to want salt. Oh, yes. And stir it, and it should melt right in. I can't imagine it wouldn't if it's hot. And then we're going to transfer it to the pan. Again, this is a half a recipe. You can put a whole recipe in this size pan. Or you can do a half a recipe and have it real thin, too. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm just going to set it there and spread it out. Okay. Now, cool, cover, refrigerate. Next day, take it out, heat up your butter, and then you're going to add your sage to it and some black pepper to it as well. I do this often with salted butter. This particular part, I love the flavor. There's something about it. The salt crystals sort of come out of the, sorry, I like butter.
Kerrygold salted is pretty
it's-
damn good.
It's like what, it would be very hard. We keep talking, oh, maybe we should become vegan, and be healthy and all that. And I go, but there won't be any butter.
Or bacon.
Or, well, except I talked to somebody recently and they eat a lot of bacon, but that's all. So they're vegan bacon eaters. I don't know what that would be. Yeah. I've known people that just eat bacon because they can't not do it, but the rest of their life they're very healthy. I go, okay.
No, I protest.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Right. All right, you can let this really brown before you add the sage. You can also not worry about it too much. Just get it really nice and bubbly. Infuse the sage flavor in there. Again, at home, I'd probably spend a little bit more time at it. Or that's it, because during the baking process, it's going to caramelize this butter anyway. You go, now, why didn't you just pour more butter over this? Well, because I thought it sounded good. If you make it ahead of time, like today, I took it out of the refrigerator and I took the tip of a knife, not a spatula, and I poked holes in it because it was firm. Right now it's still soft, to allow some of that butter to seep down into it during the cooking. Then the last thing you do is put a little bit more Parmesan cheese over the top, which kind of browns and makes a bit of a crust on the surface. And this goes into the oven and bakes just to warm it up, or as long as you want to get it crispy around the edge. Just depends on what you like. Serve that with the beef rolls, and I'm going to do the sauce, and then we'll take a break.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, let me
Or
go-
do you want to finish
where are
your?
the raffles?
Oh, right here. Yes, Tori.
Let's do some raffles.
Yes. Meat. Yeah.
Pottery Barn salad servers. 654-8522.
What do you have ready out there?
8522.
Steak and
The pork is ready. Let's do the pork.
Bravo.
Okay, the pork has gone out yet? Oh, it has. Okay, so we just need the sauce. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, that's just barely
I'm going to do
warm, so-
another one. This is from, do you all know there's a Pensy's Spices here in San Diego?
Yes.
It's on
Yes.
University. This is, it's the love mug.
Oh, let me see.
So cute. Look.
Oh, that's nice.
Okay. 654-8519.
Oh, good. Shelley.
Go. Okay.
So, oh, did you see that? It just jumped right out of the hand.
Well, good thing it didn't splash on you because you could get burned.
Yes, that was very exciting. So, can we wait for a 10-minute break to serve this one? Because that'll be hot. We don't care
And
if that's
these
not.
are
Okay.
wheat straw bowls.
It is plated.
If you're into
All right, we'll just do
sustainability,
it.
like
We'll serve
my
it.
daughter is, Ms. Granola, these are
Okay.
great bowls, and they've got tops to go with them. 654-8585.
I'm just going to close it. Start again.
There you go.
Okay.
In the back. Great.
All right. I need to finish my sauce because I've already served yours. Now we'll serve mine, and then we'll
Right.
take a break.
Yes.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So last thing for the meat is the sauce that goes on top. So I gave you other ideas, but this is a wonderful gorgonzola sauce today, made with no gorgonzola because there's none to be found in the entire of San Diego County. It's been very difficult to find in the last months that I've been looking for it. So it's fine, any blue cheese. I've done it with Cambozola, which is part Camembert and part Gorgonzola. I've done it, today we're doing with Point Reyes blue cheese, which is a fabulous blue cheese.
Yes.
So it will not be a problem. The only thing, it's so simple. It's just a really simple sauce. You boil a whole bunch of cream till it's thick, whatever that means, okay? If you're starting with very, very heavy whipping cream, have you guys used this stuff from Costco? Not the organic one, the other one. This stuff is heaven. I think it's just a local one. When they first brought it into Costco, of course you have to buy, a half a gallon or a quart of it. A quart
So
is
what's
this
your
one?
point?
It's half a gallon. But it has a really long, it's good until October 1st, and I bought it actually a week ago.
Yeah.
Is that true? Yes, almost. But it's great because it's very, very thick. You don't have to boil down too much. And you can find all sorts of things to put whipping cream in if you really work at it, okay? I never have I swear it keeps for 2 weeks past the date.
Yes.
It has kept for way longer. Add a little bit here. Oh, I'll just have a little cream there. Anyway, the pan that I have this sauce in does not heat on here, so it's hot now. Thank you. So this is whipping cream boiled down, 16 cups, boiled down to, 12 cups approximately. Okay, it's a little yellower than it was before because now you can see all the butter fat that's in it. It's very nice stuff. And then all you're going to do the rest of this is just simply add your cheese. We have both Parmesan cheese and blue cheese. Now, blue cheese, as it melts, has a bit of a thing about it that it turns everything gray. Okay, so gray and yellowish cream makes what? Not good. Okay, so your best bet is to keep the cheese in fairly large chunks and not to totally melt it, okay? Then it will hold its shape and you'll get little bites of gorgonzola as you're eating it. This is the same Parmesan cheese we've been using, so the 3-year-old one. And Parmesan cheese, when it's added to a sauce like this and it's melting, wants to go down to the bottom of the pan and adhere itself in a nice, thick, unremovable layer, okay? So the idea is to add it slowly and to whisk constantly as you add it and not cook it under too much heat. All right, that actually went
That
right in there
worked.
really well. We have one chunk of blue cheese over there. Okay, next thing you're going to want to do is add some parsley for color. You can do this, put it in the, cool it, refrigerate it, reheat it, reheat it, reheat it, reheat it, it's fine. You may want some salt, so you want to test. I love it with lots of pepper in it, but again, that's up to you. And don't add parsley until just before you serve it. The other alternative is to sprinkle parsley over it, because you're going to forget. I always do. Always. All right. So let's taste. Oh, you could just bathe in there. Oh, that's good. Okay. I'm going to add a tiny bit of salt, not much. Oh, my. Sorry, that's really good. Would you like a taste?
I would.
Okay. You can get the blue, you get the Parmesan, you get the blue. And it's pretty much melted in. One advantage of this type of cheese is it's not quite so gray. Good.
That's on the table in heaven.
And I didn't even, a lot of parsley. I didn't cook the cream down it terribly much. Now, I often serve this instead of with polenta. Just go buy somebody's ravioli. We have an Italian shop nearby. Serve it with ravioli, this sauce over the meat, the whole thing together is really good too. Okay, sauce is ready.
And that takes care of the gray, doesn't it?
It does. It took care of the gray.
Parsley.
The parsley.
Takes care of the gray.
And it wasn't that gray today, thank God.
Yeah.
But I don't know, you've done that, haven't you? You've melted some blue cheese into something and you go, oh no, how could I possibly serve that to anyone? All right. So coming up, we have the meal ready, so we're going to serve this next meal, and then we'll take a break. But before that, you have peas.
Yes.
Okay.
Which
you've already
you all-
eaten. How were they?
You all
Excellent,
ate the
good.
peas.
That's
Okay.
all.
So let me just go over that. You get thick cut bacon. I don't recommend getting applewood smoked. I just think regular thick cut bacon. We use the bacon from Costco, their brand. And you want to cook that in a large skillet until it's crispy. Because if you add anything to it before it's crispy, it's never going to get crispy. So do it till it's crispy. I used all the bacon fat in there and chopped up a sweet yellow onion and got that until it was golden brown. Then you can put that aside. You can cool it down, refrigerate it, put it in the refrigerator. And then when you're ready to serve it, you want to cook the peas. However, you can steam them, you can put them in the microwave, whatever, we put them in the microwave. And then you want to saute all of this together. When you want to reheat the lardons and the onions, you put them in a big skillet and then you toss the peas with them. That'll get them up warm. Season with salt and pepper and serve hot. This was the dish that I taught last year in Pennsylvania, and I still have husbands coming up saying, we had the peas. So, okay. But you could do that same thing with the bacon and the onion. You could do that with green beans. I've done it with sugar snap peas. It works really well with those. It's just it's a nice way to serve a vegetable, and it has some character to it. So we've got a ceramic knife here. These are great. You've seen
Put a fridge.
You've seen Phillis use hers.
I need a skillet. Just a little one? Do we have a little one?
All right, guys. 654-8529. Yay! Okay,
Perfect.
I'll leave them up here. There you are.
Ooh, that's good. I know, I disappeared for just a minute.
Okay.
All right, they're going to be serving your beef roll with the gorgonzola sauce, polenta, and the green beans. So I want to talk about the green beans just briefly. So for the green beans, we're doing a sweet and sour red onion. Feel free to do this with shallots, but you need a lot of shallots. And they're a lot more expensive than red onions are. So we're going to slice our onion. And this time I called for slicing them into rings. Thank you.
Here, Phyllis, use this one.
No, I got it. It's fine. Oh, I forgot it was there. So I want you to slice it into rings this time, which I hardly ever say that, but I am today.
Do you
Which
need
just
oil?
means, what?
Do you need oil or butter? Or?
Oh, I do need, well, it's butter, but we can use,
Here.
oh, there's some butter. Oh, there's butter
There's
left.
more there.
There's butter everywhere. How many pounds of butter did we use?
You don't want to know.
It's always fun. Okay. Oh, thank you. So I've already cooked the red onions down. I want you to know I did 9 red onions, or 9 cups of red onions sliced. So it was a gargantuan amount in a skillet. It stood up this much above the top of the skillet. By the time it was cooked, it was way down here. So you can actually use a little bit smaller pan, just be real careful at the beginning of it. What I like about this is it's a little sweet and sour, so I can encourage the red onion cooking by adding a little sugar to it, and that makes it go faster. So when you're slicing an onion, sometimes we want rings. Now I've cut it in half because I want half rings. So sometimes we cut it across this way to get rings, all right? Sometimes we cut it lengthwise, like this, because we want sticks of onion to hold their shape. Today I want my onions to melt into the green beans, pretty much. So I've chosen to slice them across into rings, okay, so that they separate and they're little round rings. And they will break down and get very, very soft, like this. So there's the red onion that was cooked down yesterday. And it was cooked down with sugar. And it's nice with this one because the sugar really makes this go pretty fast. It's not going to take an hour. It says 25, 30 minutes on there. Sometimes it even takes less. I do not need them to be thoroughly and completely caramelized. I just need them to be nice and soft and melty. Okay, it's not like I'm browning them. Okay, so once that's done, you're going to cook your green beans. And these are haricot verts, so the thinner green beans for today, but you can use any kind you want. And these are pre-cooked. I boiled them for 3 minutes. Each batch was 3 minutes. 9 pounds of green beans. It was a lot of green beans. But they cook. You want them to still have texture. You want them to have a little bit of snap. And you do this the day before. Every dinner party have green beans. Because you can cook the green beans the night before and you just warm them up. All right? They're the best dinner party of all for a vegetable. After I cook the red onions, I forgot to tell you about the part where you add the balsamic vinegar, okay, for the sweet and sour. So this is the same balsamic vinegar that I used in the marinade for the meat, okay? I don't need something that's real, has this thick texture to it and all that kind of stuff. I need something that's got a little bit of vinegary flavor, but also that bit of sweet. So I cooked my onions. That's why they were so nice and jammy looking from the sugar and the vinegar. The green beans are often cooked by themselves, or cooked, then sautéed by themselves according to the recipe. Oh, which reminds me, we have to go back to soup for a second.
Oh.
In just a second.
Okay.
No one actually questioned this, so they're obviously not reading their recipe really well.
No.
Okay, good. Sorry. So in the soup recipe, it says somewhere towards the bottom to add the Parmesan cheese. Did you all notice that? Don't. There isn't any. Okay. But you might want to cross it off so you're not totally confused when you go home. So at the bottom of the mushroom soup, just before you serve it or the last thing, it says add Parmesan cheese. And I didn't catch that until later. I have no idea where the Parmesan cheese was, where it went, what it's for, nothing. Okay, how are the green beans? Isn't that a good one? It's great for Thanksgiving, too. It's a wonderful, you've made the green beans all ahead, you've heated up the onions, you put the two together, you warm them up, and it's perfect. One thing about green beans is they're not real happy campers in the microwave as much.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Even rewarming them, unless it's a real quick servings, rewarming is not ideal. Heat them up on top of the stove. Besides, you got too many things in the oven anyway on Thanksgiving. Yeah. All right, we are going to take a few minutes break while you finish eating, and then we will come back and we will talk dessert. Okay? All right. Enjoy. Thank you. How's your polenta?
So I've got 2 of these. This is the first one we'll give away.
Get ready.
All righty. Are you ready? 654-8540.
Oh. That was a good reaction. Okay. That's great. There you go, Joan.
This pan. You are going to love this pan. You're welcome.
That's cool.
We'll give away one more
At the end. Yeah. All right, cheesecake. This is it. Can I just do that and you'll be okay? No. Cheesecake, obviously one of the perfect desserts because you have to make it ahead of time, okay? This particular one, the only downside, which you could just ignore, is that the crumb topping is better if it's not frozen, I think, personally. But, no one would ever know, so whatever. So usually I make it like the day before I'm going to serve it, or not the day of, but the day before, so it has a chance to set a little bit. This is a caramel apple crisp cheesecake, so it's got everything fall about it you could ever want. So there are parts, however. Jennifer is my assistant. She's probably served a few things. Some of you know her from classes in the past. She made 6 of these, 3 per day. There she is. There she is. I just want to acknowledge that what you're about to see, she's also measured out. So, right. So we made a lot of cheesecake. This one is delicious. I think you'll really enjoy it. It is not super sweet, okay? So if you like it super sweet, you can always add more sugar to the filling. But generally, it's got a lot of different flavors going on and a lot of different textures, which I think you'll like. Okay, first of all, crisp topping. Just like any old crisp topping. Oats, flour, brown sugar, cinnamon, salt, and then you add melted butter. But this is so melty, I'm not even worried about actually melting it. Would you massage that for me, please? Thank you. It needs some massaging. All right. Apples, we just used the little apple peeler slicer. It says to dice them, but if you're using that, it's great. Just cut them into quarters, and you've got these nice pieces of apple, so it's perfect. To that, we're going to add a little lemon juice, brown sugar, and cinnamon. So brown sugar and cinnamon. I think that's where it goes. I don't know. There's so many little cups after a while. That looks good. Brown sugar, cinnamon. Okay, that's this. And a little lemon juice. Now, I will warn you, I've written the recipe, probably not in such a great way. It tells you to put the lemon juice on this and the sugar and a little salt and all that kind of stuff, and then go away and make the filling and the crust and all that. Well, it leaves behind quite a bit of liquid. So when you're doing it, please write yourself a note. Don't use the liquid, just the apples. You only want to put the apples on top of the cheesecake. I'll mention it again in just a minute, you'll see. So this coats your apples, sweetens them a little bit, makes them a little tart with the lemon juice, which is great. All right. Then we get to the cheesecake portion of it, finally. So we have 3 8-ounce packages of cream cheese. Notice only 3 tablespoons of sugar, not a half a cup or whatever. But it also has 1/3 of a cup of caramel sauce added to it, so that's part of it. So we're going to beat in the sugar and some flour and salt. And I just put that all in this little baggie. And you do want to beat it in. You can use my cream cheese has been sitting here for now 6 hours. It's soft now. It takes 2 hours for it to get soft, so it's soft. If it's at all hard, you can do this in the food processor too. Some people think that cheesecake made in the food processor is a little too dense because it beats all the air out of it, but you also don't want to overbeat a cheesecake ever, okay? So be careful. Then after you mix, oh, by the way, with cheesecake, cream cheese in general, always add the sugar to it. The granular mixture will help the eggs absorb later. So if you're making any kind of a cake or a cream cheese frosting, you have to add some liquid to it. Start with the sugar. It works really well, okay? So softened cream cheese, sugar, flour, and salt so far. Oh yeah, that cream cheese is perfect. Perfect texture. All you have to do is wait for 6 hours. Everything will be fine. Whisk up your eggs. I just shook them in a jar. Works really well. And eggs don't like to go into cream cheese. The sugar and flour will help. Okay? And you might want to do it a little bit at a time. And it may not look like you think it should, but it'll all be fine in the end. We also have a little bit of lemon zest and a little bit of sour cream, because we wanted to put everything we could think of in here just to make life exciting.
Did you want the kitchen sink?
So we have lemon juice in the apples and lemon zest here. Lemon zest you can freeze. You know when you buy the 89-cent lemon? It drives me nuts. For 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, is that good? You like that, Michelle? Okay. And you're not going to use the zest for anything. Zest it and freeze the zest in a little container, and you can just use it from the freezer. Don't thaw it, because it gets looking like that. Okay. Works pretty well. Okay. So now we need sour cream, and we need caramel. Now I'm using Trader Joe's salted caramel because it's good. And it's easy, and they have it in the store. Although yesterday it wasn't on the shelf, it was only in the freezer section. Luckily I looked there. So I need about 1/3 cup. This is also the same caramel sauce you have drizzled over the top of it. Does that look like 1/3 cup? Yeah. Okay. Except I added a little bit of cream to it so it was easier to put in a squeeze bottle and squeeze it out. Okay, so it's a little thick right now. And my, 1/3 cup of sour cream. Because I didn't have enough in here already. I'm surprised I didn't put any whipping cream on top or something. Okay.
Do you want some? I'll
No,
go
it's
buy
okay.
some.
And that's it. I mean, one thing about cheesecake, it is not difficult to make, okay? This particular one has a lot of parts to it. So that's a little bit different, but, oh,
I'll take it.
okay, you can just put them in that thing if you want to. All right, now I made the crust yesterday. I figured we made a graham cracker crumb crust somewhere in our lives. This only goes on the bottom. You notice your cheesecake has the layer of crust, the cheesecake, and then the topping. 9-inch springform pan. Did I say an 8 or a 9 on there? 8. Please cross out the 8. Unless you have a really, really tall one, it ain't going to fit. Right. So go with a 9-inch springform pan. I wrap the outside of the pan in foil because sometimes the butter will come out in your oven, the bottom of your oven, which mine was a mess, okay? So that happens all the time. So in goes our cream cheese mixture. Caramel cream cheese mixture. So good. Isn't that good? All right, spread that out. And you can grease the sides of the pan if you want to, although if you just run a spatula around after it comes out of the oven, it's fine. Then you're going to take your apples and don't throw them on, okay? Layer them on the surface. No pattern is necessary, but just don't let them fly into it. I don't want them to be submerged. I want definite layers. So I'm removing it from any liquid that's in there, but I'm not patting it dry or anything like that. Not necessary. I just threw that edge back on there anyway, didn't I? Okay, that was 3 apples. So that's good. Then we have our well-crumbled crumble. Okay.
It's massage.
It's massage. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
I don't want that in there. Okay. And you sprinkle that over the top because we didn't have enough layers. This goes into the oven. Please notice the temperatures. It's 300 degrees for a full hour. You then shut the oven off and you leave it in there for another hour. After the hour that it's baked, it will still have a little, you can see it shimmying.
It's a little nervous.
It's a little nervous,
Yeah.
poor thing. It's okay. It's almost over. They're not going to eat you today, so it's okay. All right. It may look a little shaky. It's going to get more shaky as it begins to cook, as everything melts, and then it'll begin to solidify. You don't want it hard as a rock if you can help it, but it will set up after that hour. When you pull it out, it will be pretty much set. Some cheesecakes have less cream cheese in them, more liquid, and they're a little smoother. They're not so cheesecakey. No, you know what I mean. Okay.
Culinary term.
It's a new one. Okay. So that goes in. When you serve it, just a little bit more. You probably have enough in that same jar of caramel sauce to drizzle over the top. These were, I want to say Pippin. Granny Smith. Granny Smith. I like Granny Smith for baking and stuff like this, but those same Golden Delicious would be fine too.
Yeah.
Could you tell the Golden Delicious in your salad? It has a real interesting texture. People ignore Golden Delicious because if you just eat one, but cooked, they are fabulous. That's the apple you usually make an apple galette out of, not apple pie. That would be Granny Smith. But galettes are often made because they hold their shape so perfectly and stay succulent. It's funny. Okay,
All right.
next. Is it good? Oh, good. Okay, thank you. Yay. And yet there's more. You get a second dessert.
So I want to talk about. Hello.
No, I'll just take it home. Just wrap it with foil.
I want
Stick
to
it in the
talk
fridge.
about the cake. This is a lemon bun cake. Okay, it's a lemon bun cake, but it really is delicious. And I had it in Europe and then decided to try to take the metric and make an American way. We're going to serve this with creme fraiche and with berries. And creme fraiche you can make yourself, or you can spend $5 or $10 on a little carton at the grocery store. But all you need to do is take 3 tablespoons of buttermilk and 2 cups of heavy cream.
Oops.
Leave it at room temperature for 24 hours, and you get this thick, lovely creme fraiche, and you've made it yourself.
Did you all get that?
It's,
Repeat?
It's on here.
Oh, it's on the recipe.
Yeah. Now the lemon cake is a 1-bowl cake. It's unsalted butter and sugar and sour cream and eggs. And my secret ingredient for this is Nielsen Massey lemon paste. Instead of having to zest lemons, which are usually pretty bitter, this is lemon zest and extract in one. And so you can get this on Amazon. You can buy it for a fortune at Williams-Sonoma.
Oh, okay.
And you use it 1-to-1. So if it says 1 teaspoon of extract and 1 teaspoon of grated lemon zest, use 1 teaspoon for the extract and 1 teaspoon for the zest. And it works beautifully.
And when you eat this cake, it actually tastes like lemons. It doesn't taste like an extract. Neiman Massey, they're the people that make the good vanilla.
And
Okay. And
the other thing that I use, is Nielsen Massey's vanilla paste. When you heat vanilla extract, which is about 40% alcohol, you could actually drink it on the rocks, you know. But when you heat vanilla extract, it burns off in the oven, and so you get very little vanilla flavor, where this is vanilla beans in an emulsion, and so you use this 1-to-1. So I'm going to use, for the frosting, I'm going to use a little bit of this and a little bit of Mr. Pericone's lemon juice. And then we're just going to whisk this together until we get it to where it's pourable. We'll pour it over the top. And then, can you give this to Jennifer?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. And they're going to serve this to you in a minute.
Oh, this is for the lemon cake.
But this cake can be made with any citrus. I love it with lime. Problem with lime is that you got to juice those limes.
So if you use that, then you don't have an extract. You just
No.
use lime and lime zest.
Yeah,
Okay.
right. Or orange, you can do orange extract and orange zest. Okay, I'm just gonna.
So how do you prepare your bundt pan?
I use Baker's Joy for bundt pans, and the other secret for a bundt is that when you take it out of the oven, you time it for 10 minutes, and then you'll be able to get it out of the bundt pan. If you let it go longer than 10 minutes, you're going to have to jackhammer it off the bundt pan. The reason I say that is that I was teaching at a cooking school, and I was talking to the Nordic ware guy, and he said, well, you know you have to let it cool for 10 minutes. I said, where is that on the instructions that come with this? Oh. And he said, if you let it go more than 10 minutes, it's just going to stick to the pan. So that's my tip for the day here, along with the lemon paste.
That's actually good to know. There's nothing worse than making one of those things and then half
Oh
the
my
cake is
gosh.
stuck in the
Yeah,
pan.
it's just like wallpaper paste.
Yeah.
Okay, you're
That's
going to give
pretty.
this one away.
Oh, I get to do it this time? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, last
Last call here.
drawing. Everybody ready? Okay. Keep it in the family. Okay, last four is all we do?
Yeah.
8577. 8577.
In the back.
Yay, there she is.
Yay.
Woo!
There you go. Can I have you thank our assistants for all their hard work today?
Woo! That's for you guys.
And
That's for you.
And Vicki and Penny have been back here washing dishes and putting things away, and I am so grateful. Yay!
And Tori. Yeah.
And Tori has been behind us, making sure that we don't make mistakes.
Yes.
Thank you, Tori.
Thank you. Lots and lots of help to get through all this, for sure. Great people.
I can't hear you.
She wants the lemon paste measurements. So it's just equal.
1 to 1. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good cake, isn't it? We were eating it back here earlier. It's just lemony, but it doesn't taste like, she said it doesn't taste like lemon pledge, which is what most, substitutes taste like. That's really good. I know. Yes. It's called
Nielsen.
Nielsen Massey. N-I-E. It's in the recipe. Good job.
I tried.
It's probably under the ingredients. Yes. That should be in there too. It's powdered sugar, lemon. Is it not in there?
No.
Oh, it's not in there. Powdered sugar with enough lemon juice and enough of the lemon extract to make it a liquid. Did you put anything else in there? That's
no,
it?
that was it. Yeah.
Lemon juice and powdered sugar, glazed on top with lemon extract.
Yes.
That stuff is really good. Oh, 2 desserts. It doesn't look like you guys are taking much home. I'm quite proud of you today. Well, there's a few containers. Whew. Also, 2 of you guys, go to Specialty Produce. Tell them you were here.
Yeah.
Okay, because they donated all the produce to us.
Yeah.
So it's really great. And it really is. If you want some good herbs for something real special, I mean, trouble is, in order to get to Specialty, it takes me 45 minutes to 50 minutes to get there. So it's usually a special event. You go a lot more often.
Yeah.
This is not as far, but. Is Judy okay? Okay, all right. She nodded her head. We don't have any up-and-coming things to talk about. You can talk about Pennsylvania or something.
Right.
They're all going there. No.
Yeah, right.
I did talk about the Valle de Guadalupe.
Oh, good.
And,
Yes,
and
yes,
said
at the
we
beginning.
were thinking about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, it's 3:15. We've done
done.
really well.
really well. Whew.
I can get rid of this.
So everybody, we just want to thank you for coming today. I hope you enjoyed yourselves. Sorry about the Zoom thing. Thank you all so much. It's so great to see you. We miss you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you.
not you. I don't miss you, Jake. I see you more than I see them. No. Family. But we hope you have a chance to use these. Now you've got your fall all set out for you.
Right.
I'd hope you don't eat each one of these meals all by themselves. It's a big meal. Split them up a little bit. Right? Thank you all so much. I appreciate it. And guys, if you don't mind, if you tip the valets when you leave.
Yeah.
I think they're on the minimum wage thing. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think so.
But that would be great if you don't mind. There is no parking here. Without them, we would not survive.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
thank you all.
Thank you all.
Happy fall.
using it.